The silver ship descended through Earth's atmosphere with barely a sound. It was the year 2045, and humanity was about to discover they were not alone in the universe. The ship, twice the size of a football field, hovered over the United Nations, headquarters in New York. People stood frozen in the streets, phones raised to capture the moment that would forever change human history. Inside the UN Security Council chamber, world leaders sat in stunned silence as the view screens activated, on their own. The face that appeared wasn't human. It had large compound eyes that reflected light like polished gemstones, mandibles that clicked softly as it spoke, and antennae that swayed gently with each movement. Greetings, people of Earth. I am Ambassador Ziltz Var of the Galactic Federation. We come in peace and friendship. The translation software conveyed the words perfectly, though the voice had an odd, chittering quality. The insectoid diplomat continued. Your world has been classified as a Class 4 death world. We have been observing your development and believe you are ready for first contact. President Laura Mitchell, having been rushed to the chamber minutes earlier, stepped forward. Her face was composed despite the extraordinary circumstances. Ambassador, we welcome you to Earth. I am President Mitchell of the United States, currently chairing this council. What exactly is a death world? The alien's antennae twitched. A planet with environmental conditions considered extremely hazardous by Federation standards. High gravity, extreme temperature variations, aggressive predators, dangerous microorganisms, natural disasters. Earth possesses all these traits. The room filled with murmurs. Humans had never considered their home particularly dangerous. To them, it was simply home. 2 days later, Lieutenant Emma Porter sat nervously in a Pentagon briefing room. At 32, she had served 10 years in the Navy with distinction. Her dark hair was pulled back in a regulation bun, and her uniform was perfectly pressed. The door opened and a general entered. Lieutenant Porter, I'm General Howard. As of this moment, you've been reassigned. The Federation requested human liaisons, and your name was at the top of the list. Emma's eyebrows rose. Sir? Why me? Your file shows exceptional diplomatic skills during that incident in Jakarta. You speak 4 languages, have degrees in both international relations and astrophysics, and your psych profile shows high adaptability. He slid a folder across the table. You leave tomorrow. First human liaison to the Federation. The next morning, Emma boarded the Federation shuttle along with Dr. Alan Winters, a leading xenobiologist, and Commander Jack Daniels, a skeptical military officer who kept one hand near his sidearm despite assurances that the aliens were peaceful. I don't like this, Daniels muttered as they strapped into seats designed for beings with different anatomies. Too fast. We know nothing about them. Dr. Winters adjusted his glasses. This is the opportunity of a lifetime, Commander. Try to look less like you're planning to shoot our hosts. Emma said nothing, studying the shuttle's interior. The technology was clearly advanced, but somehow familiar in its layout. Functional, intuitive. The beings who built this were different, but not incomprehensibly so. The shuttle docked with a massive Federation vessel in orbit. As they entered the main chamber, Emma gasped. Dozens of alien species moved about, some humanoid, others completely foreign in shape. Some floated in atmosphere-controlled bubbles. Others slithered on multiple limbs, and one species appeared to be living columns of light. Ambassador Ziltz Var approached, accompanied by a tall, blue-skinned humanoid. Lieutenant Porter, welcome, aboard. This is Governor Quell Nix, who oversees new species integration. Governor Quell Nix bowed slightly. Fascinating. You evolved naturally on your world? Not terraformed or genetically adapted? Yes, Emma replied. Earth is our ancestral home. The governor exchanged a look with the ambassador. Extraordinary. Most species require centuries of genetic engineering to survive on Class 3 worlds, let alone a Class 4. Later, in the ship's observation lounge, Emma stood beside Dr. Winters, watching Earth rotate slowly below. The blue-green planet looked peaceful from orbit, belying its apparent deadly reputation. They're afraid of us. Winters said quietly. Emma turned. What makes you say that? Did you see how they flinched when Commander Daniels moved quickly? How they keep mentioning our world's classification? They consider Earth barely habitable, yet we not only survived there but built civilizations. To them, we might as well be superheroes. In a laboratory section of the ship, Federation scientists were gathered around screens displaying human medical scans. A six-limbed alien pointed at bone density readings. Impossible. Their skeletal structure could withstand impacts that would shatter our strongest warriors. And their muscle fiber density. In their gravity, they must be incredibly strong. Another scientist, a gelatinous being floating in a container, pulsed with light patterns. Their immune systems are equally robust. They host billions of microorganisms that would cause fatal infections in most Federation species. They're walking biohazards. Governor Qual Nix entered the lab, his expression troubled. What of their history? Constant warfare, replied a reptilian analyst. Their nations have been fighting each other for thousands of years. Their technology advanced primarily through military competition. Qual Nix's eyes narrowed. And now these apex predators with warfare in their blood want to join the galactic community. The council must be notified immediately. Meanwhile, Emma was shown to her quarters. The room had been hastily adapted for human use. With gravity, generators adjusted to Earth normal and atmosphere scrubbed of compounds harmful to humans. She sat on the bed, overwhelmed by the day's events. Her communication device chimed. Commander Daniels' face appeared on the screen. Porter, I've been exploring. These aliens have military capabilities beyond our wildest imagination, but they're treating us like we're made of glass. Something doesn't add up. Before Emma could respond, Ambassador Ziltzvar requested entrance. Emma quickly ended the call and opened the door. Lieutenant Porter, I hope your accommodations are satisfactory. The ambassador's compound eyes reflected the room's light in fractured patterns. I wanted to personally invite you to tomorrow's Federation Council introduction. You'll be the first human to address representatives from over 500 worlds. It's an honor, Ambassador. May I ask something? Your people seem concerned about humans. Are we that different? The ambassador's antennae drooped slightly. In my 300 years as a diplomat, I have never encountered a species that evolved naturally on a world as harsh as Earth. Your strength, resilience, and adaptability are unprecedented. You make it sound like those are bad things. Not bad. Concerning. The last species with abilities approaching yours caused a war that lasted 50 years and destroyed 12 inhabited systems. The ambassador moved toward the door. But I'm sure humans are different. Rest well, Lieutenant. Tomorrow, the galaxy meets humanity officially. As the door closed, Emma sat back down, the weight of responsibility settling on her shoulders. Humanity wasn't just joining a community of alien species. They were joining as the dangerous newcomers that everyone would be watching closely. Outside her window, the vastness of space stretched endlessly, filled with more worlds and beings than humans had ever imagined. And they were all now wondering the same thing. What would the Deathworlders do next? 1 year had passed since first contact, and Orion Station hung like a gleaming jewel in the darkness of space. The massive structure served as a hub for dozens of Federation species. Its rotating rings provided different gravity levels, and specialized environments accommodated beings from all corners of the galaxy. Emma Porter, now with the rank of commander, stood at the observation deck watching the arrival of the first official human delegation. The ship, named Unity, carried diplomats, scientists, and military observers from Earth. After months of preparation, humans were finally joining the galactic community in greater numbers. Nervous? Asked Professor Richard Hughes, a human historian, who had arrived 3 months earlier to document this historic period. Emma smiled. A little. 25 new humans arriving all at once. The Federation is still getting used to us, one by one. Richard chuckled. I heard 2 Baltra delegates fainted when they saw me lift a storage container yesterday. Apparently it would have taken 5 of them to move it. Emma's communication device buzzed. Excuse me, That's Ambassador Ziltz Var. The welcoming ceremony is about to begin. The docking bay was filled with Federation officials when the human delegation disembarked. Diplomat Susan Carter led the group, her silver hair contrasting sharply with her navy blue uniform. Behind her came scientists, cultural experts, and 3 military observers, including Major Andrew Peterson. Ambassador Ziltz Var stepped forward, mandibles clicking in the formal greeting pattern. On behalf of the Galactic Federation, we welcome the children of Earth. Susan bowed slightly. We bring greetings and friendship from humanity. The next day, cultural exchange events began across Orion Station. Humans demonstrated Earth music, art, and cuisine, while Federation species shared their own cultural treasures. In the central dome, Major Peterson watched a display of traditional Vrolg combat dancing. The Vrolg were muscular beings with reddish skin and 4 arms. They moved with surprising grace for their bulk, demonstrating combat forms that had evolved over thousands of years. Their leader, General Crave, a scarred veteran with prominent tusks, noticed Peterson's interest. "You appreciate our battle forms, human?" Crave asked, approaching with a swagger. Peterson nodded respectfully. "The discipline is impressive. It reminds me of martial arts from Earth." Crave's yellow eyes gleamed. "Perhaps you would honor us with a demonstration of human combat techniques, a friendly exchange between warriors." Before Peterson could respond, Emma appeared beside him. "Major, a word, please." She pulled him aside, lowering her voice. "The Vrolg consider themselves the Federation's premier warriors. They've been drinking fermented nectar all day. This isn't a good idea." Peterson frowned. "Commander, refusing would be insulting. Besides, it's just a demonstration. The Vrolg don't understand human strength. Just be careful." Despite Emma's concerns, the demonstration was arranged. A crowd gathered in the station's gymnasium, where gravity was set to standard Federation levels, about 80% of Earth normal. Various species watched with curiosity as Peterson and 3 Vrolg warriors prepared to demonstrate their combat styles. Federation Counselor Zeth, a tall being with luminescent skin, leaned toward Emma. "Is this wise, Commander? Humans have natural advantages in these conditions. Major Peterson has been instructed to restrain himself." Emma replied, though worry creased her brow. The demonstration began peacefully enough. Peterson showed basic grappling techniques while the Vrolg displayed their 4-armed combat style. The crowd murmured appreciatively at the contrasting approaches, but General Crave, his system full of nectar, suddenly called out, "Enough play fighting. Show us real combat, human." Before anyone could intervene, Crave lunged at Diplomat Susan Carter, who had been watching from nearby. The move was intended as a mock attack, a Vrolg tradition to test reactions. But Susan didn't know that. She stepped back in alarm, tripped, and began to fall toward a metal railing. Peterson moved with instinctive speed. He crossed the distance in 2 bounds, caught Susan, and pushed Crave away in one fluid motion. What would have been a gentle shove between humans sent the Vrolg general flying across the room. Crave crashed into a support column with a sickening crack. Silence fell over the gymnasium. Crave lay motionless, green blood pooling beneath his head. "Medics!" Emma shouted, rushing forward. "Get medical help now!" Hours later, the Federation Council chamber was in an uproar. Species representatives argued loudly while Governor Qual Nix called for order. "The human deliberately attacked General Crave," shouted a Vrolg representative. "It was clearly an accident," countered Counselor Zeth. The human was protecting his fellow diplomat. Emma stood with Peterson, who looked devastated. "I barely touched him," he whispered. "I forgot how much stronger we are here." Governor Qual Nix slammed a gavel-like instrument. "Order. This incident requires careful investigation. Until then, all human combat demonstrations are suspended. Major Peterson will remain confined to human quarters." Later that night, Emma found Dr. Liz Donovan, a human xenobiologist, in the station's library section. The doctor was surrounded by holographic displays showing ancient Federation texts. "What are you looking for?" Emma asked. Liz looked up, her face pale. After the incident, I overheard Governor Quell-Nix mention something called Deathworld Containment Protocols. I decided to do some research. She pointed to the displays. Emma, we're not the first Deathworld species the Federation has encountered. Emma leaned closer. What does that mean? According to these records, there have been 3 other species from worlds similar to Earth discovered over the past 20,000 years. All 3 encounters ended badly. Liz swiped through more images. The last one was called The Scourge in B. Federation records. They started a war that destroyed multiple systems. And they think we might do the same? Emma asked. The Federation Council is holding an emergency session tomorrow. They're discussing whether to implement containment protocols on Earth. Emma's face hardened. Then I need to be there. We're not a threat to them. As Emma left, she didn't notice the shadowy figure that had been listening from nearby. Governor Quell-Nix stepped from behind a data column, watching her go. He touched a communication device on his wrist. The humans are becoming aware. We must accelerate the plan. The next morning, Emma managed to gain entrance to the council session. Representatives from hundreds of worlds filled the chamber. At the center, Elder Vexer, an ancient being with translucent skin revealing multiple hearts beating within, addressed the gathering. We have seen this before. The physiological advantages of Deathworld species make them inherently dangerous to galactic peace. The incident with the Vrolg proves humans cannot control their destructive potential. Emma stepped forward. We come in peace. One accident doesn't justify condemning an entire species. Elder Vexer turned slowly. Commander Porter, your kind evolved on a planet that would kill most of us within minutes. Your bodies are designed to survive conditions we find horrific. Your reflexes are faster, your bones stronger, your instincts more aggressive. Nature shaped you into perfect warriors. Or perfect survivors, Emma countered. We want to be part of the galactic community, not conquer it. As the debate continued, an aide rushed in and whispered urgently to Governor Quell-Nix. The governor's expression darkened. He stood, silencing the chamber. We have just received news. The human settlement on Mars has been attacked. There are many casualties. Gasps echoed through the council chamber. Emma felt the blood drain from her face. Who? She demanded. Who attacked Mars? Governor Quell-Nix's face was grim. The attackers used Federation technology. It appears some among us have decided to take the Deathworld problem into their own hands. The Federation Council chamber erupted into chaos. Representatives shouted over each other while security personnel rushed to secure the area. Emma stood frozen, her mind racing with thoughts of the Mars colony and its 10,000 human inhabitants. I need to contact Earth immediately, she said, pushing past Governor Quell-Nix. The governor gripped her arm. Commander Porter, please remain calm. We are gathering information. Emma pulled her arm free with ease, making Quell-Nix stumble. Several nearby guards tensed. Those are my people being attacked. I will not remain calm. Counselor Zeth hurried. Over. Commander, please use my private communication chamber. It has a direct link to Earth. Minutes later, Emma stared at the grim face of President William Reeves on the secure channel. The president looked like he hadn't slept in days. The Mars colony was hit 12 hours ago, Reeves explained. Advanced energy weapons targeted the main habitat domes. Current casualty count is 732 dead, over 1,000 injured. Emma's hands clenched into fists. Who did this? The attackers used unmarked ships with Federation technology. Admiral Sanchez is mobilizing our defense forces. Emma leaned closer to the screen. Mr. President, the Federation Council is discussing placing Earth under containment protocols. They fear us because we come from what they call a death world. The president's expression darkened. Then they attack us because they fear us. That's not a path to peace. I don't believe the attack was officially sanctioned. There are factions here. Emma was interrupted as alarms began blaring throughout the station. Counselor Zeth burst into the room. Commander, armed intruders have boarded the station. They're heading for the human quarters. Emma ended the call and rushed from the room. The station corridors were in panic as beings of all species sought shelter. Security forces moved in the opposite direction toward the disturbance. Emma found Greg Harrison, a human intelligence officer, organizing the defense of the human section. He handed her a Federation pulse weapon. 8 attackers, he reported. They're after our delegation. Emma checked the weapon. Who are they? Mixed species wearing unmarked combat suits. Greg pointed to a security feed showing the intruders moving with military precision. Same group that hit Mars, I'd bet my life on it. The station shook as an explosion ripped through a nearby corridor. The lights flickered momentarily. Get our people to the Unity, Emma ordered. We may need to evacuate. The first attacker rounded the corner, firing indiscriminately. Emma and Greg took cover behind a support column. The energy beams left scorch marks on the station walls. Federation military-grade weapons, Greg noted. Someone has serious backing. Emma peered around the column and fired 3 precise shots. The first attacker went down. Then let's find out who. The firefight was brief but intense. Human reflexes, honed on a high-gravity world with predators lurking at every turn, gave Emma and the other defenders an edge even against well-trained attackers. Within minutes, 3 intruders were down and the others were retreating. They're heading for their ship, Greg called out. Emma pursued them, determined to capture at least one for questioning. She rounded a corner and came face to face with a masked attacker. Before she could react, the attacker fired. Emma felt the energy beam graze her shoulder, burning through her uniform. She dropped to one knee, but managed to return fire, hitting the attacker in the leg. The masked figure collapsed with a cry of pain. Emma approached cautiously, weapon raised. Who sent you? She demanded, pulling off the attacker's mask. She found herself staring into the face of a young Federation security officer she had seen working with Governor Qual Nix. 3 hours later, Federation Security Chief Maltok, a bear-like being, with 6 eyes, met with Emma in the station's medical bay while a doctor treated her shoulder wound. The captured attacker has confessed, Maltok growled. He was part of a secret group called the Protectors of Galactic Peace. Emma winced as the doctor applied regenerative gel to her burn. Let me guess. They think removing humans from the equation will protect the galaxy? Precisely. But the troubling part is that he claims high-level Federation officials supported their actions. Governor Qual Nix? Maltok's many eyes blinked in sequence. We are investigating, but there is more. The Council has voted to hold an emergency session regarding Earth. The containment proposal will be debated. What exactly does containment mean? Emma asked. At minimum, restricting human movement to your home system. At worst? Maltok hesitated. Tell me. Complete quarantine, automated defense satellites surrounding your system preventing any travel in or out. It was done to the last Deathworld species before they were ultimately pacified. Emma sat up straight despite the pain. You mean exterminated? Maltok didn't deny it. The records from that time are incomplete, but I believe someone is using those old fears to manipulate the current situation. Someone who wants humans isolated or eliminated. On Earth, the United Nations Security Council gathered in emergency session. Admiral Paula Sanchez, head of Earth's Space Defense Force, presented the latest intelligence. The attack on Mars was precisely targeted to cause maximum casualties. This wasn't a warning. It was an attempt to provoke us into a disproportionate response. President Reeves looked around the table. Options? We could withdraw from Federation, membership, suggested the Russian representative. And isolate ourselves? Countered the Indian delegate. That may be exactly what they want. Admiral Sanchez cleared her throat. There is another option. We reveal Guardian. A hush fell over the room. Guardian was humanity's secret defense project, a fleet of advanced warships built using both Earth technology and reverse-engineered concepts from recovered alien vessels that had crashed on Earth over the centuries. If we reveal Guardian, we show the Federation we've been preparing for extraterrestrial threats long before first contact, Sanchez explained. It might deter further attacks. or confirm their fears that we're dangerous, President Reeves said quietly. Back on Orion Station, Emma and Dr. Liz Donovan worked frantically to piece together the truth about the previous Deathworld species. They had gained access to Elder Vexer's private archives with Counselor Zeth's help. Look at this. Liz pointed to ancient text scrolling across her screen. The species they called the Scourge wasn't naturally aggressive. They were provoked into war after a Federation faction attacked their colonies. Emma read the passage. History repeating itself. They're trying to goad us into proving we're dangerous. Their research was interrupted when Emma's communication device chimed. It was President Reeves. Commander Porter, we've detected multiple ships entering the Sali system. Federation registry but moving in attack formation toward Earth. Emma's blood ran cold. Mr. President, it's a setup. They want us to retaliate. If we do, the Federation will invoke the containment protocol. The President's face was grim. Then we need you to convince the Council of the truth. Because if those ships attack Earth, I will have no choice but to deploy Guardian. May God help us all if it comes to that. As Emma rushed toward the Council chamber, Orion Station's view screens displayed breaking news. Earth's orbital defenses had detected and tracked the approaching Federation ships. The deception was unraveling, but would the truth come too late? To prevent war? Emma quickened her pace, knowing the fate of human Federation relations hung in the balance. Emma burst into the Federation Council chamber, breathless from her sprint through the station corridors. The massive room was filled with representatives from hundreds of worlds, all watching view screens showing the Federation ships approaching Earth. This must stop now, Emma shouted, her voice cutting through the murmurs. Those ships are acting without proper authorization. Elder Vexer turned slowly in his hover chair. Commander Porter, this is a closed session. I have evidence that proves humans are being deliberately provoked into conflict, Emma insisted. She held up a data crystal containing the files she and Dr. Donovan had recovered. The same thing happened to the species you called the Scourge. They were peaceful until attacked, then labeled as aggressors when they defended themselves. Counselor Zeth moved to Emma's side. The Council should hear this evidence. Basic fairness demands it. Before Elder Vexer could respond, the main view screen switched to a new image. Earth's orbital space. Several dozen objects were rising from hidden bases on the dark side of the moon. What are those? Demanded a council member. The objects were sleek, angular ships clearly built for speed and power. They moved into defensive positions around Earth. Governor Qualnix pointed accusingly. Secret warships. The humans have been preparing for war. All along. Project Guardian, Emma said quietly. Our insurance policy. Earth has encountered alien ships before official first contact, mostly crashes, some hostile. We've been developing defensive technology for decades. The council chamber erupted in shouts and accusations. Above Earth, the Guardian ships formed a protective screen between the planet and the approaching Federation vessels. Admiral Paula Sanchez's face appeared on a communication channel. This is Admiral Sanchez of Earth Defense, unidentified Federation vessels. You have entered Earth space without authorization. State your intentions or be treated as hostile. The leader of the Federation ships, Commander Earth Vol, responded with obvious surprise. Earth vessels, you have violated Federation technology restrictions. Power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded. Admiral Sanchez's laugh was cold. These aren't Federation-derived technologies. They're purely human innovations. And you're in no position to make demands in Earth space. In the council chamber, Emma turned to the assembled representatives. We don't want conflict, but like any species, we will defend ourselves. I ask the council to order those ships to withdraw immediately. Elder Vexer's ancient face showed no emotion. The situation is beyond simple resolutions now. Let us see how this plays out. Emma realized with horror that some council members wanted this confrontation. She turned to Counselor Zeth. I need to contact President Reeves directly. At that moment, the unthinkable happened. One of the Federation ships fired on a Guardian vessel. The energy beam struck a glancing blow, causing minimal damage. Who gave that order? shouted Federation Security Chief Maltok, who had just entered the chamber. "This is unauthorized." On the screens, the human ships held their positions, not returning fire despite the provocation. Admiral Sanchez's voice came through again, remarkably calm. "Federation vessels, that is your only free shot. The next hostile action will be met with appropriate force." President Reeves appeared on a separate channel. "This is President William Reeves of Earth. We have no desire for conflict, but we will defend our world. To demonstrate our intentions, we will take no action against the ship that just fired upon us. Consider it a gesture of peace." In the council chamber, Emma saw an opening. "Does that sound like a warlike species to you?" "We could have retaliated, but chose restraint." Elder Vexer seemed unmoved, a clever tactical decision, appearing peaceful while positioning war vessels. "Enough." It was Dr. Kevin Hayes, a human anthropologist who had been quietly observing. "This cycle of fear and mistrust must end. For thousands of years, humans fought each other on Earth. We've learned the terrible cost of war. We don't want to bring that pain to the stars." While the debate continued, the situation near Earth reached a breaking point. Two more Federation ships moved aggressively toward the Guardian fleet. The lead human vessel, Indomitable, commanded by Captain Nicole Jackson, maneuvered between them without weapons powered. "Federation vessels," Captain Jackson broadcast, "we are sending you our shield frequencies as a sign of trust. We have no intention of firing first." Commander Earthval was visibly confused by this tactic. No military commander would share shield frequencies with a potential enemy. It was either supreme confidence or genuine, peaceful intent. In the council chamber, Security Chief Maltok revealed his findings. "We have proof that Governor Qualnix authorized the attack on Mars and the assault on Orion Station. He falsified orders using council security codes." All eyes turned to the governor, who suddenly bolted for the exit. He didn't get far. Greg Harrison, who had been waiting outside, tackled him to the ground with ease. "The Deathworlders must be contained," Qualnix shouted as he was restrained. "They'll destroy us all just like the Scourge nearly did." Emma seized the moment. "Elder Vexer, please look at the evidence we found in your own archives. The Scourge didn't start that ancient war. They were defending themselves just as we are now." Elder Vexer finally accepted the data crystal. As he reviewed the files, his ancient face showed something rare: surprise. "These records were altered in our main archives," he said slowly. "The original accounts show the Scourge were indeed provoked into conflict by Federation hardliners who feared their potential. Back at Earth, a tense standoff continued. The Federation ships had stopped their advance but remained in attack position. The Guardian fleet maintained their defensive screen without engaging. Our weapons could have destroyed your ships twice over," Admiral Sanchez communicated to Commander Earthval. "If we wanted war, you wouldn't be having this conversation." The truth was undeniable. The human ships outclassed the Federation vessels in every way. Earth had been preparing for possible threats from space long before official first contact. In the council chamber, Emma made one final plea. "Issue the stand-down order. Show that the Federation truly stands for peace, not fear." Elder Vexer slowly raised his hand. The other council members fell silent. "I have lived for 700 years, he said. "I have seen species rise and fall. Perhaps it is time for new understanding rather than old fears." He turned to Emma. "Commander Porter, ask your president to recall his ships to normal patrol distances. I will order Commander Earthval to withdraw from Earth space." As both fleets began backing away from confrontation, Emma felt the tension in the council chamber ease. But she knew this was just the beginning of a new chapter in human Federation relations. "The containment proposal is withdrawn," Elder Vexer announced. "Instead, I propose a special committee to establish new protocols for interaction with Deathworld species. Commander Porter will serve as Earth's representative." Greg Harrison approached Emma as the council session ended. "You did. It war avoided for now." Emma nodded, watching the view screens as the ships near Earth moved to less threatening positions. "But we've revealed our Guardian ships. The Federation now knows we've been preparing defenses all along. Maybe that's not a bad thing." Greg suggested. Sometimes peace comes through strength, not just good intentions. Perhaps Emma agreed. But the real question remains. Now that they know what we're capable of, will they ever truly trust us? 6 months after the near conflict at Earth, the Grand Council of the Galactic Federation convened for a historic session. The massive chamber on the Federation capital world of harmonious unity was filled to capacity. Representatives from over 2,000 worlds gathered to address what was now called the Deathworlder question. Emma Porter, now bearing the title of ambassador, stood at the center of the chamber. Beside her was Dr. Chris Bennett, a human diplomat who had helped draft the new proposals being considered today. Both wore formal Earth diplomatic uniforms, simple yet dignified against the elaborate costumes of many Federation species. Grand Counselor Zeke, the oldest living member of the Federation, called the session to order. His species lived for over 1,000 years, and his pale, translucent skin showed his great age. We gather today to correct a historic injustice and prevent future conflict, Zeke began, his voice amplified throughout the chamber. For too long, the Federation has operated on fear when encountering species from high-gravity, high-danger worlds. Emma glanced around the room. Elder Vexer nodded encouragingly from his position in the council. After the revelation about Governor Qualnix's deception, Elder Vexer had become an unexpected ally to the human cause. Federation historian Qualtem will present the findings from our complete archives, Zeke announced. A being related to Qualnix but much older stepped forward. He activated a holographic display showing ancient star charts and records. My examination of the complete archives reveals disturbing patterns, Qualtem began. Over the past 20,000 years, the Federation encountered 4 species from what we classify as death worlds. In all cases, initial peaceable contact eventually gave way to conflict. The historian displayed more images. However, in all 4 cases, the conflicts were preceded by provocations against the death world species. In 3 cases, we have clear evidence that hardline Federation factions deliberately engineered these provocations. Murmurs spread through the chamber. For many representatives, this was shocking news that contradicted centuries of accepted history. The species we once called the Scourge was actually named the Viridians, Qualtem continued. They did not initiate hostilities until after 3 of their colony worlds were attacked by ships using Federation technology. The resulting war devastated dozens of systems before the Viridians were ultimately defeated and their homeworld sterilized. Emma felt a chill at those words. That could have been Earth's fate. Qualtem's final slide showed a genetic analysis. Most disturbing of all, our biological analysis confirms that humans are physiologically superior to the Viridians in nearly every metric. They are stronger, faster, and more adaptable than any previous Death World species we have encountered. The chamber erupted in concerned voices. Grand Counselor Zeke raised his hands for silence. This is precisely why we must not repeat past mistakes, Zeke said firmly. Ambassador Porter, please address the council. Emma stepped forward. Members of the Federation, I stand before you not as a threat, but as a potential ally. Yes, humans, evolved on what you call a death world. Our planet's high gravity, extreme weather, dangerous predators, and countless diseases shaped us into resilient beings. She paused, making eye contact with various representatives. But those same harsh conditions taught us the value of cooperation. On Earth, lone humans rarely survived. We learned to work together, to build communities, to value peace because we understood the terrible cost of conflict. Dr. Bennett handed Emma a small device. She activated it, projecting images of Earth, children playing in parks, scientists working in laboratories, artists creating beautiful works. This is humanity, Emma continued. Yes, we can fight when necessary, but we prefer to build, to create, to explore. We don't want to conquer the galaxy. We want to join it, learn from it, and perhaps offer new perspectives from our unique evolution. From the side of the chamber, Major Olivia Scott stepped forward in her formal military uniform. As Earth's military attaché, she had been asked to demonstrate human capabilities. With your permission, Scott said, I will demonstrate what a human, trained for combat, can do. What followed was a carefully choreographed display of strength, speed, and skill. Major Scott lifted weights that would crush most Federation species, moved with reflexes that seemed impossibly fast, and demonstrated combat techniques that left the audience in stunned silence. But the most powerful moment came at the end. Major Scott stood before a target designed to measure impact force. With a single punch, she shattered it completely. That, she said into the silence that followed, is what I could do if I wanted to hurt someone. But I don't. None of us do. Strength doesn't determine intent, Grand Counselor Zixa spoke again. We have feared what we did not understand. We have treated difference as danger. Today we have a choice to make history rather than repeat it. Elder Vexer floated forward in his hover chair. I have studied the humans closely these past months. Yes, they are physically superior to most Federation species in many ways, but I have also observed their restraint, their capacity for mercy, their desire for peace, even when provoked. He turned to face the council. I propose we create a new classification, protected Deathworld species. Any civilization evolved naturally on a Class 4 or higher environment would receive special diplomatic status and non-aggression guarantees from all Federation members. The vote was not unanimous, but the majority was overwhelming. The Council approved what would become known as the Deathworlder Accords. The formal signing ceremony took place the next day, with Emma representing humanity. As she pressed her thumb to the document scanner, making the agreement official, Emma thought about the long journey from that first contact day when Ambassador Ziltzvar's ship had appeared over New York. Ambassador Porter, Grand Counselor Zixa said as the ceremony concluded, there is one more matter. The Federation Council wishes to establish a new diplomatic office. Given humanity's unique perspective, we believe an Earth representative would be ideal to serve as mediator in disputes between Federation worlds. Emma raised her eyebrows in surprise. You want humans to mediate your conflicts? Precisely, Zixa replied. You understand both conflict and peace in ways many of our species have forgotten. And, he added, with what passed for a smile on his ancient face, other species are less likely to resort to force when the mediator is a Deathworlder. 1 year later, Emma stood on the observation deck of the newly constructed Earth Embassy on Harmonious Unity. Dr. Bennett joined her carrying data tablets. The latest amendment to the Federation Charter has been ratified, he reported. By unanimous vote, I might add. Emma took the tablet and read the simple yet powerful addition to galactic law. No civilization shall initiate conflict with species evolved on Class 4 or higher Deathworlds. Do you think it will last? Bennett asked. Emma watched the diverse beings moving through the embassy gardens below, representatives from across the galaxy coming to consult with human diplomats, scientists sharing knowledge, artists exchanging cultural insights. Fear is a powerful thing, she said quietly. For a while they feared us for our strength. Now they respect us for how we use it. That respect has to be earned every day with every interaction. She handed the tablet back to Bennett. But yes, I think it will last, not just because they're afraid to fight us, but because we've shown them something more important than strength. What's that? Bennett asked. Emma smiled. That sometimes the most dangerous species can make the most dedicated peacemakers. After all, we Deathworlders understand better than anyone exactly what's at stake.